Hello, welcome to Kitchen Basics 101, where I teach you the bare bone basics as if you have never cooked a day in your life from the perspective of a mom. We're gonna do the most basic roast chicken, but I wanna tell you, roast chicken is super versatile. So there's like 1,000 different variations that you can make on this chicken based on what you like. Crispy skin, tender skin, I don't eat the skin, whatever. Lots of aromatics, no aromatics. There's so many options, but I'm gonna like strip it down. We're just gonna do a basic roast chicken, and we'll talk about a couple things you could do if you wanna dress it up. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take it out of the packaging, which can be a little intimidating. What I do is I put the plastic bag that I bagged it in underneath it in the sink, and I cut the bag off that it comes in and just let those juices drip off because it has juices in it. And then it will depend on your chicken, but some chickens come with the parts in a bag inside the cavity. I know that's gross for people who are beginners and don't like chicken. Put gloves on. You're gonna have to go into the cavity and take that bag out. You don't want to cook the chicken with that bag inside. That bag is there so that if you want to make a stuffing or you want to use the organ meat or you want to eat the organ meat, it is there for you. Not all chickens come with it, but if you get a turkey for Thanksgiving, which I know a lot of people have Thanksgiving on their mind right now, I'm going to make this chicken. I'm going to tell you, it's very similar to making a turkey. So basically, when I'm teaching you how to make this roast chicken, you could use the same method basically to make a turkey, and it's going to come with those parts inside of it as well. Now that it's out and I've got it on a paper towel because it's juicy, and what we want to do is try to get it as dry as we can get it so that the oil will stick to it nicely, it will brown nicely. Now we want our bird to be moist, the meat to be moist, and so we're going to do things to add this moisture back in, but we don't want it on the skin because that is not going to help us get our chicken browned up. So that's the first thing you're going to do. Now remember, and I know you've heard this before, but you know, chicken has salmonella, right? So you need to be careful that when you're touching the raw meat, you are washing your hands. You're not putting this paper towel that has chicken juice all over it onto your counter and not cleaning it properly. So when you're handling a chicken, just act like it's sticky honey and everything you touch is sticky and you need to wash it off. That's what I tell myself, right? Oh, I got sticky stuff on me and I need to wash it off. So you're just gonna go along and you're gonna get that chicken as dry as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? But as dry as you can get it. First thing we're gonna deal with is what we're gonna put inside the cavity to give it lots of moisture and lots of flavor. Now you can put a lemon, which I think is fantastic. You just wedge up a lemon. I happen to have a bunch of leftover or extra apples laying around my house. These are Honeycrisps, I think, apples. I just think apples and chicken is such a beautiful mix. Basically, all you want is something that's a little bit acidic, maybe a little bit sweet, and has a little moisture. You could stuff the cavity with onions. If you're gonna put fresh herbs, put them in first, and then put the apple in after you've put in the fresh herbs. So you could put in thyme, rosemary, it doesn't matter. Whatever makes you happy. That's the best part. A roast chicken is just like a canvas that is ready and waiting and for you, right? And then I'm gonna put garlic. Now, a lot of times people put like the whole bulb of garlic like this in their chicken. I'm not gonna do that because I have opened these before and there's been mold or dirt, and you know, even though I'm not gonna eat what's inside the chicken, I don't want that getting into my food. So I'm going to cut this open, the garlic, and I'm just gonna take a look at what's inside, and I'm going to peel off some of this. Everything here looks beautiful, and it's so much more like fragrant. I just feel like if you cut that top off, you'll let all those good garlicky goodness come out, right? So I'm going to shove the whole garlic clove. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. The whole garlic clove in here in the cavity of the chicken to start with. This chicken was about, I think, 5 pounds, which is just sort of like a standard chicken size. And then we're gonna shove the apples in here, and depending on how much space you have in the cavity will depend on obviously how much you can get in here. She's not very roomy in here, so I was only able to get, looks like I'm only gonna be able to get 1 apple in here. These videos would be 45 minutes long if I showed you me going to the sink to wash my hands every 10 seconds. Put like a half a stick of butter in the cavity too. I'm actually gonna take one of these apple pieces out because we had a snug cavity. I'm gonna put my half a stick of butter inside. Now this is optional. I just think it just adds so much moisture and so much deliciousness. And when we make a turkey, we will saute up the organ meat in butter and then add it to breadcrumbs. And that's what we will stuff inside the bird. And oh my God, it makes the bird so moist and so delicious. We're gonna drizzle her with a little bit of olive oil. And then we're gonna cover her in salt and pepper. Do a really good job salting, and you can even salt inside the cavity. Oh, don't forget to do the legs. A little oil over here on the legs and the wings. Okay. Definitely don't forget to salt generously. And like I said, you can even salt inside the cavity if you want to. I put salted butter in there, so that's my salt inside the cavity, because this is a lot of meat, and this is 5 pounds of meat, and it needs a lot of seasonings, okay? But this is it. Salt, pepper. Like I said, you can put fresh herbs in the cavity if you want. You can even put herbs out here if you wanted, dry herbs, but you don't have to. Salt, pepper, olive oil, beautiful. So we're gonna flip it over, and we're gonna do its back. Again, olive oil, and then salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna cook it with the breast side up. Now, this is basically the same thing that you would do, like I said, if you're cooking a turkey. Now, you have to look at your turkey's instructions to find out the weight of your turkey and how long you have to cook your turkey and all that jazz. But it's basically the same thing as this roast chicken. Okay, we're gonna flip it back over this way so it's boobies up. And we are gonna try to tuck the wings under the body, or just tuck them into the body. That will just keep the tips of the wings from burning. So just kind of try to turn them in. Now, some people will truss the legs. I don't care. I think it's fine. You can do it if you want. You can tie the little legs together like this if you want. They say it makes it cook more evenly. Whatever. I can't be bothered. So I'm going to pop this in a 400, 425 oven, and the cooking time is going to vary. So you're probably going to need a thermometer for this, somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half. We're going to have to poke it and find out when it's cooked, or from practice, you just can tell. But we're going to poke it and we're going to be sure. I wanted to add one more thing before I put it in. You could totally fill this with potatoes that are seasoned, you know, or fennel or carrots or whatever. And those veggies will cook from the juices that come off the chicken, and it's totally delicious. Put lemon wedges, and it's fantastic. It's not going to turn out crispy. It'll be more like when you're making pot roast. They'll be soft. They'll be full of flavor. They'll be delicious. If you want it to be like super easy, you can totally do that. You could have this whole jazz prepped the night before. Cover this in some saran wrap. Throw this in the fridge. And then when you get home and you want to make dinner, you can crank the oven on, set this out, let it come to maybe like room temperature for like 15 minutes while the oven's preheating. Throw this in the oven, an hour later, you have dinner. Like, you could have pre-prepped this the day before, totally, and let it sit like this. Just make sure you cover it, make sure you refrigerate it. Look at this stunning work of art. She was in about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going deep into the chicken to check the temperature. We're at 167, and for poultry, we want 165, so she's perfect. An important step is to just let her rest and let her relax before you dig in. She's already getting eaten. You can really smell the apple coming off of this. The best part is it's super tender. Like, I'm literally can pull the meat apart with my fingers, and it's so juicy and moist. Delicious roast chicken. So easy. Go make one.